Good morning everybody on this windy, cold and kind of damp January day. Today I'm going to do my very first training vlog, taking you through how the horses are getting on, showing you a bit of their work and what I'm doing with them at the moment. First up is I'm going to help my mum jump Tommy, who I didn't introduce actually in my last video, but he is my old, I say old, he would hate that, but he is my old event pony. And he also kind of got me introduced to Working Equitation. He's really, really cool. And now I get the pleasure of seeing my mum event him. And hopefully I would love for them to go to Badminton Grassroots. My hair is not loving this wind. Okay, without further ado, and to save my poor hair, I'm gonna go and get her started. That's better. Left hand. When he's a little bit behind the leg and sucks back, if you then lean forward, which is what tends to be happening, you're then leaning forward, which is putting your weight a bit more on his front end instead of staying upright and really kicking him forward. 1, 2, good, Kath. Soft hands, kick forward. Very nice. There we go, that's better. So the other thing I was saying to her was that on landing, when he's on the wrong lead, sometimes most of the time, good, she asks him for the change before she's asked him to move forward and before she's recovered her position, so he gets stuck. So what she needs to do, very nice, what she needs to do is get her balance back, ask him to move forward on landing to recover his balance. Very good. That's okay. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. So I think and rather hope that Zenny Boy has just given himself a knock on the outside of the fetlock. He is a little bit lame and he's got a little bit of heat and a tiny bit of swelling on the outside of it. So I'm just going to cold hose him, keep him in overnight and see how he goes over the next day or two, and if needed obviously we'll get a vet in, but hopefully it's just a knock. Time will tell, fingers crossed. I'm now about to hop on my first horse for the day, which is Scandal, who my dad is just warming up as I speak. I'm expecting we'll probably do a little working equitation, maybe an obstacle, and then we're teaching him passage and canter pirouettes at the moment. So I imagine we'll do a bit of work on that. We have slightly unusual approach, I think, to both of them, so it might be interesting for you guys to see. So here's Scandal tackling the single slalom. He's supposed to do a nice even 4 strides, and the key to this is to stay as close to the barrels as possible and to do sort of almost short diagonals between the barrels. But we lost real control there around the first barrel. And you'll notice with Scandal that there's a real pattern of his left to right. So he'll change very easily from right to left, like there, and then he'll struggle to do 4 strides from the left to right. So there I think he did 6. And then it's easy going back again. He can do 3, 4 the other way. So that just shows his weakness, and we then actually took him away and did a few days working on nice 4 times without the barrels, and it did help a lot. The other thing we then did, just to help, because Scandal gets very ahead of himself and is brilliant at predicting and trying to get stuff done before we've asked him to. So we also mixed in an exercise where we do a change, and instead of carrying on down the slalom, we put in a circle. And actually it's really nice. He's getting much better at the changes, so that's really pleasing. Minus that pulling out a canter. So onto the passage work, and what we're trying to do here is essentially expand the passage out of the piaffe, because that means we can start from a place of collection and we're not trying to bring a horse back into collection, but we're instead pushing him forward into a real slow
passage type step. The biggest issue for Scandal is look at that right hind leg. The left one he can step forward really nicely, but the right just comes up. It doesn't step as far forward. You can see it really here, forward, together. So what we're doing, that's mostly weakness on that right hind leg. And what we're doing here is really trying to do a short snippet, and once we get that right hind to step forward a bit more evenly, we then call it a day. That said, we actually decided to pause on the passage for a couple of weeks just to try and do other work like PF and strengthen that right hind.
So with Jim Jam at the moment, I am working on starting to get him to lift his back a little bit more, step a little bit more, and just sort of progress his level of work to the very, very early bits of collection. Not even close to actual collection, but just the start of the feeling of it. They're very keen. So yeah, it's just about, you see it's a few transitions, but it's trying to get him to do transitions in the correct way, using the rein back and using lateral movements to really get him loading a little bit more weight on his hind end and lifting through the back, which is key.
So on to Jimmy Changa, and how cute is he looking at all these barrels? It's so nice to see him so confident and curious and happy. So it's a really nice start. Just let him have a look. Onto the lateral movement though. So what I'm really focused on here is not so much about the angle, because I can correct that, and I know he can do a very nice leg yield. What I'm interested in is him stepping really, really slowly. So there we lose the shoulder and he quickens a bit, and then I slow him up, and this is a bit better here. I want him to be evenly and slowly bearing weight on those hind legs. It's no different to in a gym, how if you're doing strength training, actually a lot of the time you get most benefit from doing your exercises really slowly, because it puts the muscles under greater tension for a greater duration of time, and therefore you have a greater overall effort. But if we look back to Jim, again a wobble, but that is the step there. Gets a bit quick again, that's too quick, there. That's what I'm looking for. And it's really hard. So then I also did a little rein back into the trot, because that really gets his stifle articulating.
So last but definitely not least, it's Dazzle's turn. I'm not 100% sure what version of Dazzle I'm going to get today, if I'm being honest. It's a very windy day, and there's literally like shooting going on right outside the stables. So we'll see what he's like. He also often comes out a little bit, I would normally previously expect him to come out feeling a little bit like Aggie, have a little bit of sort of frustration on a day like this, but we have done quite a lot of work recently that I think has been heading a bit more in the right direction, with him self-regulating and generally being able to be a bit more settled and calm. So it'll be interesting to see what he's like. I'm going to do a bit of groundwork just to get a feel of how he's doing, and then we will do a little bit of schooling session. I've only ridden him twice since the intro video, which was a couple of weeks ago now. I think it's really important to mix in groundwork with ridden work when they're first introduced back under saddle, not only from a physical aspect of trying to make sure that they have never really been ridden when they're sore, either from using new muscles, or possibly from little saddle fitting issues or whatever. You know, hopefully all the horses are in good saddles, but you just don't know. And then also from the emotional side, I think they still need to do the groundwork and do what they've known so far in their education to make sure they stay emotionally in a good headspace and able to be calm and work in a thoughtful way. So that is the plan for Dazzle today. Like I said, two ridden sessions since the introductory video, and we're going to school him today after some groundwork. And the rest of your sessions, other than the two, have been groundwork. Anyway.
Right, so Dazzle's groundwork is very simple at the moment. It's just teaching him to release tension and saying to him we start our sessions at a 3 or a 2 instead of a 7 or 8. Under saddle, he has, and you'll see this right now, basically no education at all in terms of actual proper schooling. He gets distracted very easily. He is not confident and consistent at reaching into the contact. And to be honest, he doesn't really understand about reaching forward and down and softening through the ribs. So that was my goal today. And really the key thing I'm focusing on is asking him, hey, can you reach forward and down and soften a bit? And I want the nose to always remain in front of the vertical. So how do I do this? Basically, my job is to, in a very soft way, follow his mouth. And I say when his head's up and or he's twisting, you'll see sometimes coming up, I think, he twists his head a little bit. That's tension. And I'm just really gently, without pulling back, I'm just saying, hey, I'm going to just keep hold of you slightly here. And then when you reach forward and soften, I'm going to go straight with him. I'm going to release. And I'm going to say that's a really nice place to be. The thing you'll notice here is there's still quite a lot of tension in the mouth. He does chew a bit, even when he's reaching forward and down. That is something I've noted, I am very conscious of, and my view on it. So here I'm just persisting a little bit. He's just trying to figure out what to do and where to be. It's all very new to him. So with attention, my view is that once he becomes more confident, finds that he's actually really quite comfortable stretching and able to relax and release a lot of tension. I mean, it's unsurprising he has a lot of tension. He's a young ex-racehorse. And I think that the mouth will settle down a lot once he's able to do that. It's actually made a lot of progress on the ground when I've worked with him bridled. I think it's just transferring it to actual under saddle. So there was some really nice stretching in patches, and he's a fabulous boy.
So now that I'm returning to sports a bit more seriously, I'm trying to get the yard looking a bit better, but also working a bit better. So we've been sort of sorting everything out, getting rid of a bunch of rubbish that we collected over the years, and generally like getting everything easily accessible. Yeah, and then the other thing we'll be doing is cleaning up. So my latest job is going to be dusting, which you might think is quite low down on the priority list. Oh, there's someone shooting outside. Might be quite low down on the priority list, but actually we've done a lot of work already, so we're kind of at that stage now. If you can see, I've kind of already done like that rectangle there, and also the window and the wall. Ignore the mess, I'm kind of in the middle of tidying everything up. But if you look over here, I mean, it's actually really gross. Those are all cobwebs. Like crazy. We were chatting it through, and I don't think this place has been dusted in about 25 years maybe. We also have a bunch of random stuff, like random ass bits of canvas from previous owners, and just like bunches of string everywhere. So the goal is we're now on to clearing all of that up, and where it's done, let me come back a bit, where it's done, it looks way better, and it looks like so much more put together and something to be proud of. So yeah, I will be spending the next few weeks doing that, and I will show you the progress. I've also had the vet out to look at Zen, and yeah, we're going to give it a few more days. It could just be a really bad knock, or it might need a bit of further investigation, but she's basically like, hold your horses for a bit longer. Let's see. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I just wanted to show you the difference. Here is Bella's stable that I've just done. Look at those walls. Okay, and then here is Dazzle's stable, which has not yet been done. So I feel like it actually makes a crazy difference. I mean, like, it looks like a different place, so very happy.
I have a really depressing confession, which is that I put my back out after 2 days of dusting. So I didn't actually get much further beyond Dazzle and Bella's stables, but nonetheless, I think it looks pretty damn good.
So I would rate today a 8 out of 10, dropping just 1 point because this little munchkin was lame, and a second point because of the weather. Oh my god, it's been so cold. I am super happy with how all the horses went. Like, genuinely, I'm not just saying that because it's a vlog. I'm really happy with how they went. Obviously, not the most exciting in terms of it's been a lot of flat work today, but I think they're all at very interesting points and very different points in their development. So it's really nice for me to be able to work with that. What are you doing, Zen? And experiment a bit with like 3 completely different horses today. It's been really fun. In other exciting news, I'm about to enter Scandal into his first Working Equitation competition of the year. And I genuinely just can't wait until January is over and the season starts coming around. But that competition will be in mid-February, so I will take you guys along with us. Fingers crossed for that. And otherwise, yeah, I can't wait to keep going, and I will see you guys in the next video.